Good morning to one and all. This is Dr. P. Lavanya, working as Associate Professor in MBA Department in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Dundigal. So today our topic relating to the question bank related to the different types of questions which has given in an analytical form relating to the unit 3 of theory of demand and supply. So now we analyze the questions saying that examine the demand forecasting and what are the purpose of demand forecasting with the limitations of the trend methods of forecasting. Means here the question analyzes that what is demand forecasting and what is the purpose for forecasting of the demand in the market with the limitations, and it itself is asking the analysis of what is the trend method of forecasting. So first we'll see the process of demand forecasting, which we'll call like introduction. As we know that demand forecasting itself, it is a process of estimating the future demand of a product or services. So in order to produce the goods and services, we 100% requires the estimation how much is required. Means supply, when we want to supply the goods to the market, the estimation of the demand is much more important or necessary. So this estimation of these goods will involve in calculation or categorizing of historical data relating to the market trends and also relating to the other factors which we predict about likely demand in the future. Means while estimating the demand for a certain goods and services, we should consider the relating to the past data and what are the changes we are able to identify in the market, and also other factors which are taking into the consideration changes in the production, like maybe the inputs, customer changes of their taste, fashions and other related things, such that those predictions to be added while we are forecasting the demand. So here when you want to go for business planning and operations method, here the demand forecasting will always help the organization in taking the informed decisions regarding the production, maybe the inventory and also the resource allocation. Means when we want to go for this type of demand forecasting, 100% it will help us to plan our business relating to the production and operation manner, which will help us to take the decisions maybe relating to the how much goods we want to produce, relating to the availability of the inputs and management of inventory, and also what sort of the resources we can allocate in case of production of these goods and services. So what is the purpose of demand forecasting in the sense? Here is optimization, that inventory itself, we want to get an optimum inventory. Means accurate demand forecasting help for the organization to get maximum inventories, where excess of inventory will tie up with capital while insufficient inventory will create the lockouts or loss of sales. Means here we can say that the inventory must be optimum. It should not be excess. Means more inventory, our capital will tie up. If the inventory is less, we lose the sales or unable to produce the goods what the market is demanding. So here optimum management is much more important. Next, production planning. So demand forecasting, it help our business to plan our production. Maybe this production helps in the preparing our schedules in an efficient manner. So it avoids in overproduction or underproduction and ensures us for utilization of the resources in an effective manner. Means by going or having this demand forecasting, perfect production planning or should be done such that we cannot go for more production or the less production, and if that is done, accurate production is taken place, 100% the utilization of the resources will be very much effectively. So the next important regarding to the purpose of demand forecasting is supply chain management. So this forecasting is an aid which help the management to ensure the supply chain from the entrepreneurs to distributor for procurement and also the distribution of resources. By aligning it with expected demand, this reduces the lead times and also ensures timely deliveries. Means here the supply chain management itself aids the management to entire supply from procurement to the distribution. Means from the starting of how to get the resources to the how to distribute the resources in the production, which help us to produce the goods in case of expected demand. So this will reduce the unnecessary lead time, means wastage of the time, and ensures the delivery of the goods and services on the mark to the market in a on the time and also in an efficient manner. So the financial planning, the purpose of forecasting will help us to go for in financial planning like preparation of the budgets, and also allows us to get an optimum allocation of the resources such that the realistic financial goals could be expected. Next, the market strategies. So based upon this demand forecasting only allows the company to toiling their marketing strategy. So based upon that what is the demand exposed from the market, we are able to go for the supply. So if the demand is less, we used to go for different types of strategies, maybe which enhances our demand. So that's why these marketing strategies maybe includes like pricing, promotions, and also the product positions, which help us to meet the anticipated customers' needs. And the risk management is also one of the important factor which will help in case of forecasting demand. So by this risk management only we are able to identify the potential risks and uncertainties of the organization. Once we are able to bear the risk and uncertainties, then only organizations will able to tactical the challenges and also adopt the strategies accordingly. Next, as we know that limitations of these trend methods. First, we'll see what is a trend method. Means it is a common method. So approaches which help us to forecast the demand. So trends means based upon the historical data, we are able to identify the pattern. Means how the sales was going on and the exploration of the future demand. So based upon that, as we used to know this type of diagrams means trends. Maybe sometimes we'll have the increasing trend, maybe sometimes decreasing trends, means some explanations will be there. So based upon the historical data, we are able to identify that what sort of forecasting will be there. Means every year increasing, decreasing, or maybe in a lower mode. So we used to identify. So there are some limitations for these trend methods, as we know that assumption of continuity. So these methods is always based upon the historical basis. So the main limitation is based upon the historical basis, where we cannot say that the same will be repeat. Means it will be takes place in the future also. So this assumption holds as the true, especially in the dynamic or the changing market and rapidly changing external conditions. When the external markets and the conditions are 100% changing, we can't expect this trend projection as it is based upon the historical data. Ignoring the external factor. Once when we consider these the trend methods, always it is to look into last time how much we have been sold. Based upon this time we want to estimate. So it will always ignores what is the market changing of the tasting, fashions, and also the customer's need and requirement. Competitors means sudden external changes maybe occur in the economic environment, maybe the technological advances or the regulatory framework. So significantly impact the demand but may not be reflected in the historical data. Means all these external changes has a wider effect, but the historical data presents make us to trend projection itself ignores the external factors. And it is cyclical and seasonal. Trend methods is struggle to capture the seasonal and cyclical demand pattern, as we have product and services where we have predicting the fluctuations. So season or economic cycles is a simple trend analysis but cannot be useful for the future variations. In case of data quality, based upon this accuracy of the trends based forecasting, so we are unable to identify the quality of the historical data. So as we are able to identify, sometimes the historical data may be of inaccurate and also leads to the unreliable forecasting. So by enumerating the above results, where we can say trend is a valuable tool, but when it comes into the practical implications, itself is having some sort of the limitations, as it was not updated models and also it was unable to take the changing marketing or the dynamic conditions. So which we can say that combination of the both quantitative methods with the qualitative insights will enhance the reliability of demand forecasting. The next is examine the market research approaches to the demand estimation. So, in case of this, we are able to identify that what is a market research approach relating to the what factors contribute for the estimation of the demand. So, first we'll see that what is a demand estimation. So, it is a critical aspects of market research. We can say the demand estimation, or sometimes it is similar to the demand forecasting. So, as the market researchers, they themselves will helps for the business in understanding and predicting the consumer behaviors. So, which enable us to make the informed decisions about the product development, pricing and distribution. Means here demand estimation itself is a critical aspect of the marketing, as it helps the business to understand, predict the consumers, and itself enables about the product development, pricing and distribution. So based upon this, we are able to identify that various approaches are employed in the marketing research which estimates the demand in their own strengths and itself is having some sort of limitations. Here there are some common marketing research approaches where we can estimate or analyze the demand. So the first will comes the surveys and questionnaires. So surveys and the questionnaires involves in collecting the data directly from the potential consumers through structured questions. So means as we know that with the help of the questionnaires, preparing some questions through collected data directly will ask the potential consumers relating to their need and requirement relating to that survey. So the main advantages of these survey and questionnaires was it was able to provide the quantitative data on preferences in buying intentions and also the demographics. Means these help us to identify that what sort of demographical people liking what type of their product. Maybe their taste and preferences could be estimated. And the main limitations of this survey method was maybe it responds or influenced by the social desirability and the risk of inaccuracy and self-reporting was enabled. And the second method we can say like operational research. So observing the consumer behavior in natural setting without direct interaction, we can call it like operational research. Means as we doesn't interact with consumers. So naturally, we ourselves will directly go and interact relating to the need and requirement of the consumer. So the main advantages of these operational is actual consumer behavior could be identified and potential bias by introducing the self-reporting we can understood. So the main limitations of this is it was limited to only over variables and observations may not reflect the underlying motivations. Next, focused group. So it is also one of the methods where we can estimate the demand, like a small group of individuals where they discuss and provides feedback upon the product or its concept. Means here we give to a group of people where they will discuss themselves and they will analyze relating to the advantage or the disadvantage of that product. So based upon this, the main advantages of this focused group was it allows for in-depth explanations of attitudes, opinions and interaction among the participants. So means this helps us to identify that the group people will discuss, they will interact and they themselves will exhibit their attitudes relating to the product. And the limitations relating to it is a representative group dynamic and helps in responsive in influencing the responses. Means where we are unable to say that one represents the majority group of people. So one or two giving information cannot be taken as a whole informative. Next, historical data analysis. So analyzing the past data where we can famously call as identifying trend methods or the patterns. So main advantage of this historical data was it itself will utilize the actual market behavior which is offering the historical representatives of a demand. Means based upon the past market behavior, we want to analyze the future. And the main limitations of these historical data analysis is it assumes only the past and continues to be in future. But it was unable to identify the changing marketing conditions and also the consumer preferences and tastes. And the next method relating to the is econometric method, where it is in a statistical model which analyzes the relationship between the demand and also the various economic factors. So the main advantage is it only incorporate the multiple variables where we can estimate the demand and can also the on account of its interdependence. Means multiple external variables should be taken into the consideration by utilizing the statistical methods such that we are able to identify its interdependence. And the main disadvantage of this econometric method was as it requires an extensive data and we want any stable relationship with the variables. Means the data, clarity of the data and availability of the more information relating to the variables are not at all possible. It leads to the one type of limitation. Yes, sir. And next one is machine learning and also predictive analysis. So utilizing the advanced logarithms to analyze the largest data sets and predict the future demand is one of the methods by utilizing this machine learning or predictive analysis. The main advantage of these predictive analysis is it covers the complex patterns and adopt the marketing conditions. Means based upon these predictive analysis relating to the advanced logarithm, complex uncovered variables can also be taken into the account. So the main limitations of this data may be it is conceptually intensive and the result itself is interpretable. Means the main we can say main disadvantage was where the requires a skilled scientist or the skilled experts or required to analyze the data and give the interpretation where they are the scales. So by taking the above different types of methods, we are able to approach, maybe we are having a specific or the combination of the available approaches. So we can consider the based upon the nature of product and services and also the availability of the resources, the level of pre-requirements for a demand estimation. So if one factor or the one method is not applicable, where we can add the combination of the multiple method such that it will create strengthen and overall validity of the findings. So these are the some of the advantages and the disadvantages relating to the estimation or the prediction of the demand analysis. And the next one relating to that extensively example questionnaire, like a company has been developed a new product and a need to determine the optimum pricing point. Means when new product was developed by a company, so what sort of price to be identified by that company? So by using the demand analysis, the company can estimate the price elasticity of the demand and determines that how changes will be the price will affect the sales volume. So based upon the analysis, the company can choose the price point that maximizes the profits. So means by estimating newly developed product when you want to determine the price, with the help of the demand analysis, how any company will estimate the price elasticity. And these changes of the prices will affect the volume. So it is asking what sort of analysis does the company will choose in order to get the profits. So for this, first we'll see the measurement of the price elasticity of the demand, where we know that the price elasticity of the demand means the sensitiveness or the responsiveness of quantity demanded of a goods will be changes when its quantity demand changes in its price. Means the responsiveness of the change in the quantity demanded reflected the responsiveness of the change in the price of a product. So its concept will determine that based upon that we are able to identify what is the pricing point of the product. So here we have some steps which will analyze for determining the price elasticity of demand. So the first one is the collection of data, where we want to gather the historical data collected including the quantity stored and also corresponding price. And this collection of the data may be having based upon the other factors like might influences the demand or like through advertisement, promotional technique, seasonal and also the competitors. Means based upon these other factors will influences the data what we have been collected. And the next is defining the price elasticity. As we know, what is the price elasticity formula is, that is the percentage of change in the quantity demanded will be reflected in the percentage of change in the price of the product. So based upon this formula, we have to calculate the price elasticity of demand. So after calculating through formula, just we analyze the historical data and what sort of trend analysis, pattern of trend. Means by identifying the historically maybe increasing trend, decreasing trend or fluctuation trends are there, then we have to take the instance of the price changes and we can implement. Means what type of happened in the past has to be examined. And now we should take the changes and implement the observations corresponding to the sales volume. Means once we have been done, then we should implement and we should examine regarding the correspondence of changes. Next, estimate the elasticity. Using the statistical methods, we have to go for estimation of the price elasticity, and other methods may be like regression analysis, which is a common tool of a statistical analysis in estimation of demand. So by these analysis, our goal of understanding what the percentage of change in the price is to be correlated with the percentage of change in the quantity demanded. Only when we know this percentage of change, then we can go for determining the price of the newly issued product and interpretate the elasticity results. Means what sort of value was differentiated. It should be calculated that it is elasticity is greater than 1 when the demand is elastic. This means consumers are relatively responsive to the change. If elasticity is less than 1, then the demand is inelastic, where we can able to say that the price has been proportionately smaller and affects the quantity of the demanded. Means the price is very less and which will affect the quantity demanded. So the considering the above factors, we are able to take the other influencing factors like pricing decisions, production cost, competitors, strategies and marketing conditions when we are examining the elasticity of demand. So for that we go for optimum pricing strategies relating to the newly launched product while we are going the elasticity of demand. So these optimal pricing strategies will use the information related to the identified at what is an optimal price point. Means at what point of price we can enhance the product to the market. So the company has to set the price where marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost. Means additional revenue to be equal to the additional cost in case of getting the organizational goal of profit maximization. By adjusting the pricing strategies, then we can go for the competitive landscapes and the company positioning in the market. Then we can go for monitor and adjust the results. Continuously monitoring the sales, marketing conditions will assess for ongoing of the pricing decisions. And these pricing strategies is based upon the changes in marketing dynamics and also the consumer behavior. So we should monitor the sales, marketing conditions, consumer behaviors and also the pricing strategies. So by following the above steps, the company can make as an informed decisions about the pricing of the new product. So with these, the organization can maximize its both revenue and profit. So while involving these elasticity of price on the pricing strategies, we must and should be more careful in ongoing prices and adjustments has to be made. Means maybe whatever we estimated, we should identify that what is market going price or ongoing price in the market. Based upon that, we has to make our changes. Then only we are able to fit in the external changing marketing conditions. Next, construct an example based upon the given paradox. So as we know that given paradox, it is one sort of economic concept or the law which highlights that a potential conflicts between the wealth and income. As we know, the wealth maximization and income. So the Giffen paradox is an economic concept given by the David Giffens. So it suggested that individual income may not accurately influence the overall financial position of well-being if the significantly wealth tied up in non-liquidate assets as a real estate. Means as this Giffen paradox says that as the individual income is not only the priority which will shows the impact upon the overall financial being of a human beings. Means total financial position cannot be depends upon the current income. It may also depends upon the some sort of the money which was tied up in the non-liquid assets like real estates and other, which help the people to get more financially strong. So for that we give an example illustrating the Giffen paradox by an imagination of two individuals where Alice and Bob, who both earns 1 lakh rupees annually. Means both are having an income of 1 lakh rupees and they are doing similar jobs and also similar lifestyles in the city. However, we have a quite differentiation in case of their wealth distribution pattern. So the Ellis invested his money wisely upon the several properties, maybe like in real estate investment like houses, rental properties and valuable arts. While his income is 1 lakh per year, his substantial portion of his wealth is tied up in non-liquid assets. Means totally he invested in the real assets upon the rent or maybe the housing premises and all other. On other hand, Bob, he in spite having some incomes like an Ellis like 1 lakh rupees, he mainly focused upon the liquidate financial position. He well diversified his investment portfolio. Investment portfolio means clubbing of different types of alternatives. Means not at all investing in a single alternative. We invest money in different items. Means some portion of the amount is invested in A, some in B, some in C. Means while investing in a different activities, we'll call as a investment portfolios. Where here the Bob's investment portfolio constructing of some he invested in the stock, some in the bonds and other in tradable assets. So unlike like Bob's wealth is more liquidate and easily accessed. Means he can easily sell the sell those assets maybe like stocks and bonds and get liquidate money. Now consider within a certain economic downturn, both aliens and Bob has to face the financial challenges when economical conditions was not good and their wealth means current income has been stopped. Their income of 1 lakh rupees are not getting. At that time, what type of impact we are able to navigate in this situation? Alice, despite of her higher income, struggling during the economic downs because significant portion of her wealth has been tied up in the real estate. Here, Alice invested in the real estate like a rental and housing and land premises, where it is very difficult in case of economical crisis to sell and get the money, and his regular life was very typical due to the investment in non-liquidate assets. And when she needs urgently money, she was have to sell the property. Maybe if we can sell it lower value and lacking to face the liquidity issues. But on another hand, when you have been considered the Bob, he invested in the liquidate assets where he himself can adjust his investment and change it more quickly. Then he can sell some of the stock immediately according to the current price and he can turn up his economic depressions without any significant loss. So with this example, we can identify that Giffen paradox. It is an evidence between the Alice and the Bobs which he himself, in spite having higher income maybe, but her financial challenges during the tough economic times when it compared to the Bob has been potentially illiquidate in his wealth distribution. So this illustrates that potentially disconnection between the income and overall financial means income is not at all a landmark for the overall financial method. how we distribute the income, how we save the income, maybe in the liquidate and non-liquidate assets will contribute to the wealth composition, plays an important role in case of these financial issues. And this way we can go for analyzing the example of this Giffen paradox. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.